And we are live. Welcome everybody. This is our first time on Mitch Maeli Live that we are streaming live on YouTube. And so welcome everybody to this call. We got quite a bunch of people jumping on here. Now, for those of you who are on YouTube, if you want to join us on the live call and be able to ask questions in person and join the conversation, you can go to mitchandmaelylive.com. That's Mitch and Maeli, M-A-E-L-I, live.com. And it will push you right into the Zoom call. So as long as you're respectful of the others on the call, you're welcome to join us and participate in the conversation here. So we have a few announcements today, and then we are going to be sharing some awesome information with you. So first announcements, for those of you, I know we are scattered all over the country, especially those of you on YouTube. We're kind of everywhere. But for those of you who are close to me, for those of you who live in Utah, we have local meetups. These are not on Zoom yet, but I believe we will be getting those on Zoom and YouTube Live soon. But for those of you who are close, we have Tuesday meetings at 1 p.m. We have Tuesday meetings at 7 p.m. And we have trainings at 7 p.m. on Thursday as well. So Tuesday at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. we have real estate trainings. And then Thursdays at 7 p.m. we have real estate trainings. All of those take place in Sandy, Utah. So if you're able to make it, mark it on the calendar. I will get you guys the information. Just reach out to me and we can make that happen. We've got a few more people joining the call. We have Wade's on the call. What's up, Wade? How are you, my friend?
Doing?
No, let's keep that off. Thank you. Good. It's good to see you again. Long time no see. I think I just saw you, yesterday? Or the day before?
Oh, it seems like it doesn't.
We got Dave Cokerhans on the call. What's up, Dave? Welcome to the call, my friend. Maeli's joining me downstairs today.
How you doing? Hey, Maeli, Mitch. Good to see you.
I'm so glad to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Doing okay. Getting better.
Hillary's here. Hillary, it's been a minute. How are you? Happy New Year to you.
Hey, how are you? Happy New
Good.
Year to you guys.
Good. Well, welcome back to the call.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's go. 2023. Let's go.
Eugene's here. What's up, Eugene? You getting settled in?
Yep. And so I've also invited Tamara. You'll see her on the call as well.
She's right here. She's
Yep.
waving at us.
Hi, Tamara.
And then Aaron Merrill's on the call. What's up, Aaron? Thanks for coming, my friend.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So good.
Good to hear your voice.
Good.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Michael, welcome.
Hey guys,
Hey,
good.
Michael.
What's up?
Rosa, welcome to the call. How's it going?
Hey everybody, doing good. How are you guys?
Are you chilling on the beach again?
You can't hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Oh, I'm like, wait, I usually have an issue with the mic there.
No,
No, not chilling at all. Working hard.
Okay, good.
Grind it
Glad to
out.
hear it. And Chris is new to the call. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. Yes, I am new. I'm working with Carlos.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, Carlos Melendez, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, he's a good kid. I love Carlos. He's a gunner, man. He's out doing those flips like crazy. Are you working
He
with
knows
him
what
on
he's
the-
doing. He is.
Yeah, he's stud. Love that I8 too. He's gonna let me drive that one of these. I think I have to switch him for the vet, so he gets to take the vet for a day, and I think he'll let me take the i8. So
That's a good switch. I think that would be.
It's a good deal, right?
That's good.
Cool. And then Charlotte's here. What's up, Charlotte? How are you?
I'm doing good. Just getting out of practice, so I'm driving home.
Good.
Just my practice. How are you guys?
Good.
So good. So
Awesome.
for those of you who jumped on a little late, just quick review of the announcements. So if you are in Utah or you want to come to Utah for some of these, I don't know if it's worth the travel for a hour-long real estate meeting, but
We are meeting.
we're meeting live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. and then again at 7 p.m. Different topics every week at the different hours, and then we're meeting again Thursdays at 7 p.m. The Thursday at 7 p.m. Meeting is more about networking and relationships and building a community of real estate investors. So we would love to have you guys there if you can make it. And then also, once again, we are streaming live. As of today, we are streaming live from YouTube. And I wish Kathy was here, because every time Kathy's here, she's asking me, where can I get these recordings? And I keep telling her they're stacking up, and I'm going to edit them one day, and I'm going to throw them up on YouTube. And I just haven't done it. So we just decided to make this a YouTube live, and we're going live on the YouTube channel. So guys, if you have not checked out our YouTube channel, we have so much good real estate investing training there. It really is just incredible. I mean, everything from high level mindset stuff down to the nitty gritty. Right now we're in the process of releasing a 16-part rentals track. So every other day we're dropping a rentals training, and it's kind of one after another. It's modular. So it's about, I think it's going to be a total of about 4 to 5 hours of content just on how to go out and acquire and operate rental properties. Everything from the taxes to the legal to managing your tenants to the contracts to the deal spotter system that Maeli and I use on a daily basis to go out and find properties and analyze them. You're not going to want to miss it. Make sure you go to Flipping with Mitch and Maeli on YouTube. Click that subscribe button. Click the bell so that you get notified when those drop. We just dropped one at 6 p.m. today. We dropped the first one, the introduction module, that kind of sets the tone for the entire class. That's going to happen over the next 16 releases. So again, that's every other day. And we're just going to keep, that pace of every other day, we're going to keep dropping videos. So you're either going to get to see a walkthrough of an actual fix and flip, or a training like this real estate one that we're doing currently, or a market update. And then we're going to try to fill the off days with shorts. So you should just get little tidbits from us on the off days. So that'll be good. Now, we have some awesome stuff for you. I know I have some stuff that I want to share. Maeli has some stuff that she's going to share today. This is going to be interesting because now we're sharing a computer. The YouTube thing takes up some extra bandwidth, so you guys got to see this. It's like a full-on command center that we're running here. So I got these two monitors that are set up that I have no idea what most of that stuff means. But basically, that's taking what you're seeing and it's turning it into a YouTube video in real time. So interesting. But this is our pilot episode. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we'll make it better over time. That's the goal anyway.
We will. The answer is absolutely. It's certainty. There is no. Oh, hopefully, kind of. No, we don't talk that kind of language around here. We do things, right? We are doers, and I know all of you are too. What's up, Quincy? Quinny, what up? Oh, where'd he go? Tim?
He's still getting on.
Okay. Hey, so yes, I do have lots of information to go over. Oh my goodness! So I just sent you a few text messages.
Me?
They're pictures, yes, because I don't have a computer. I don't know how to. No? Yeah. Okay. I'll just give them stats. I think they should see it.
Yeah, I think let's just.
Yeah, they need to see the visuals. I feel like I need to see the visuals for sure. It was like, what? Okay. First things first, I guess, is that the market is very interesting. And I am actually curious to kind of, I've talked to people now in Texas, different brokers. I've talked to a few in Florida, in more of like the Miami area. I've talked to a few in like Pensacola area, and I haven't talked to very many in California. So Rosa, I'd actually, if you know something here, please chime in. But if you scroll down just a little bit here, we're gonna click on this guy. Yep, go ahead there. Can you all see that?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah, you're not sharing your screen yet.
Okay.
I'm not sharing my screen yet. Helps if I share my screen, huh?
Potentially.
Thanks for your patience, guys.
We'll figure this out.
We'll figure it out.
We're definitely
one way or another.
Uh-oh.
Where did it go?
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good.
Okay.
Good deal. Okay, so this is every
The map of the United States. There you go.
Yeah, all of the United States, yes. If you actually go to the meeting picture real quick, just to click on it. So we were in a meeting. This is just half of the room. There was another 3 rooms like this. So this was, over 300 people in this room. People fly in from all over the country, but mostly, obviously, just like different states within the USA, trying to give just real live data on what they're seeing right this second on market indications, what we should be looking at, what are the key indicators of change. And because here's the thing, never has it ever been the case ever in the history. So if you go to the next slide, let's see here. Nope, that's not that one. I will show you. Never has it, let's see, done this ever. So we've never seen a market where it was like, oh, here's 2.3%, here's 3% interest, and then bam, 6% interest. We've never seen that ever in the history of real estate.
It's just been a more gradual climb. Because I know we've
It's
gotten
always,
that high before.
yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
been more gradual.
All over years. Years and years and years. So it was legit, the government, right, being like, brakes, but not just brakes, go in reverse. They were in panic mode, right? And it's because of the trillions of dollars of deficit that we're in. We're not going to fill the full deficit for a minute. But they did share some really cool, Intercap shared with just really outstanding information. But this is what I actually wanted to show you was, some blurry pictures. Here you go. So this is the data showing where most of got hit the hardest. So the areas that exploded in the United States, and of course, cute Hawaii and, Alaska there, anything that is in blue just skyrocketed, right? Anything that was in blue. And so, no, those are the places that are actually getting hit the hardest, right, as far as just market. And so that's exactly, you'll see just stabilizing now, which is what's been happening. But the blue is what's stabilizing. So if you go to like the royal blue on it, that essentially means that it's being stabilized. So that's healthy. I know that in California, I mean, I have been talking to some brokers. I just didn't talk to them yesterday. They were saying, in the meeting and stuff, it's still a frenzy in California. Rosa, what are you seeing?
I feel like it's not, it has lowered a little bit, but not like I'm keeping an eye out on prices and they haven't dropped like in other places.
Right.
Like
yeah.
they're not dropping drastically.
They're not here either. It's interesting. I mean, longer days on market, fewer buyers, stuff sitting, but prices aren't dropping.
Yeah. And they're showing that that's the case. So something that I wanted to talk about as just kind of some key indicators that they talked about, which I thought was fascinating. So I'm just going to share it with you. Some key indicators. That's probably all the slides. I mean, you can go back through if anybody's interested in seeing some of those. But the key indicators is how many employees are needed and how many employers are there. So this is actually what dictates all of the interest rate in. So this is Utah as a whole. This is interesting. Just kind of understand how that's like how it's growing. Share of growth by county. That's really cool slide. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, obviously we should be in Utah County. We should be investing down there. So right. All you Utah County people, woohoo! We need to get back down there. But so something that was really fascinating to me was understanding it's the ratio of employees is actually what dictates our success as real estate, in general. So what I found out, and it was just basically one of the top economists of the nation, right? And he was explaining that when you have a situation, which we're in right this second, where you have employers that need to hire employees, and every single business is hiring right now, every business, right? And they can't seem to lock down employees, and if they do get an employee, they hoarder them, right? It's like, oh, please don't leave, because they, one, aren't working all that hard, but they're getting paid more than what they're actually worth. And so it's this interesting balance that we actually are not an employee, like we are at a low, like there are more jobs out there than there are people right now. That's crazy to think about. We are the opposite of, like there's people that just aren't working. Why? I have no idea how this is going to change. It will start catching up. And it'll be some things that you'll notice as you're walking around. If you go to the stores, if the malls start to go to crickets, like I was at the mall this last weekend, and it was still so crazy, and everybody's spending. I'm like, where do you have the? I know you don't have money. I know you don't. So why are you spending? And that's the key: is credit cards go up, everything. So what's going to happen is all of a sudden people are going to go, oh, actually, I should probably work, right? When that switch happens, you'll see it, because all of a sudden it's no more employees. Like they're not looking. And their wages will kind of start to come down just a little bit. Once those wages come down and they get stabilized as a growth of the economy, then all of a sudden that's when the feds will be like, okay, we hit the brakes hard enough. to put people in recession, right? Like we hit them hard enough that now they're actually willing to go back to work. They're willing to put their best leg forward and actually rebuild America, right? Is kind of the what he was saying. So I like the idea that it shouldn't take very long. They're saying that by March it will have hit hard enough in most of those areas that you were seeing that we will see a shift drastically by March. They're also saying that because of how they've seen forecasts before, and obviously history repeats itself. So essentially, looking at the graph and whatnot, in the next 2 years, absolutely the interest rates should be dropping again. But it would never come below 4%. Honestly, anything below 4% is actually a really unhealthy market. So why we were there in the first place?
COVID.
Really just...
Felt like it was just like the perfect storm, though. I feel like it was just like all the things lined up to create this booger of a mess that we're in right
now. It was a booger for sure. But the things that I pulled from it...
It does make it a great market for seller financing, though.
Oh, no, for sure. And we are poised. And I guess that's what, I'm really excited about. And I was talking to, my broker today and just kind of getting a feel for like all our agents and stuff. And we're one of few people. I mean, at the brokerage, everyone just kept hearing, Maeli. Like, they don't even have a clue about seller financing. I mean, I want to say probably 95% of the state, here in Utah at least, and I would say, across the nation, don't understand seller financing at all. And that's really frustrating because as an agent, if I come to you and you're an agent, I want you to understand the lingo. I want you to understand the terms. I want you to understand how this works. Instead, I have to spend 20 minutes to sometimes 2 hours just telling you how it works, not negotiating the actual deal and getting the numbers to work for their client and then mine. So that is frustrating. So I am at the top of my lungs screaming, seller finance, everyone, let's go, right? And I'm trying to teach and we're training on this and we are dropping quite a few videos on this. So definitely watch those if you're on the call right now going, actually, I would love to figure out how to do a seller finance deal, put only maybe $30,000 down and have a rental that's cash flowing now because it's seller finance. They only maybe have 2.3% interest rate. Leverage that. That is freaking amazing. They want you to leverage that too because they don't want to give up their 2.3 or 2.5% interest. There's a lot to obviously train on there. But just go to our YouTube channel, click on seller financing. Lots of good content right there. Right there's a playlist now.
Yeah.
Seller financing.
There is. Well, let me let me walk everyone through it. So.
It's terrible. You get off of that. It's the worst pause.
No one can see it yet, so we're good.
Okay, good.
Just pause it in a spot on Maeli where she didn't like her pose, of course. Yeah, let's walk them through it so they know how to get that information.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. Because it is. Seller financing is one of those unique tools that we have, and we really need to make that a very enticing object that we have, and we can hold that hostage because we're one of few, we're anyone that's on this call, anybody that's in our network, the people that are hanging out with us, this is what we do, and we do this all day long. We wrote... So another really good friend of ours that does a ton of flips, he actually is lost, and I don't want to put out names here, so I'm not going to, but in the last 5 months, he's listed 5 homes, and he's lost on each one of them over $60,000, every single one. And he goes, I just want to unload them, I want to be done with them, I'm like, okay, but that means you've lost legit like $600,000, like that's where he's at right now. That's an entire house. You're pissing off people.
There's another contact that we have that I had lunch with the other day, or brunch with him the other day, and he told me he's lost about $200,000 from selling properties at a loss, and I just don't understand. I asked him, I'm like, dude, I just don't get it. He's like, well, we're just liquidating so that we can get ready for the next time the market comes back, but that really is that's the first off, that's the first law of investing, right? That's Warren Buffett's like first rule of investing is don't lose money. Right? Like why would any of us want to lose money? Because the alternative is we have other options where we can continue. Yes, it may take longer, but we have other options where we can continue to make cash while we're waiting for that market to come back. Real estate's flexible, and the real estate market itself is non-compressible, meaning people have to live somewhere, right? Like the business market, like stocks. Stocks can go to zero. So business, look at Sears, right? They were in business for like over 100 years and then just went away. and their stocks were zero. But real estate doesn't do that. There's always a demand for real estate. It's a non-compressible market. It just shifts. The strategy just shifts from booming in one thing to booming in another thing, right? And in this case, where we're at right now, I think we went from a booming mortgage market and a booming flip market where appreciation was going crazy, and any idiot could make money flipping, right? To a market where now it makes sense to help people out of their bad situations because people are getting into bad situations. Coming out of the forbearance from COVID, there's a lot of people that can't afford to pay that money back that they were just taking a nap on while COVID was going on. And that's something that we can come in and help them with some of our strategies. So,
well, in today's broker meeting, so we did on contracts today. It was a really intensive on the breakdown of contracts, and actually we're gonna have him come on as a guest speaker here soon. So Jonathan's he is an incredible attorney, but he just breaks down contracts and all the loopholes and how to get around all sorts of amazing things. So we're gonna have him on a call here shortly, within a couple weeks actually. Because you're going to love all the little things. I was dying. I learned. I love what I learned, right? It's like, it's so juicy. It's so great. So anyway,
let's show them where to find that content real quick.
Oh yeah, please do.
So if you go to the YouTube channel, it's Flipping with Mitch and Maeli. Make sure you subscribe while you're there, but then you can go to this playlist tab. And I haven't created one for, sorry, I got a frog in my throat tonight. I haven't created one for seller financing by itself yet. I'm sure we will. We've got videos in the queue to be recorded, a lot of videos about seller financing, but the ones we have are going to be in this rental properties playlist for now.
We've all heard that rental prop.
So over here, you'll see these three. You guys can see the before and after of a property that we flipped and got 3 free rentals out of it. And then seller financing, why it's so amazing. We go into some detail there. This was actually filmed live on this call, so some of you actually watched the recording of that video. And then how to find your first rental property with no money. That is actually a seller financing training. So we've got 2 seller financing trainings here. You guys are not going to be able to see these 2 yet because they are coming out over the next 2 days, but this was the first one of the rental property course that we're releasing, the 16-parter. This is the first one. This is the introduction module. This one will be released in 2 days. This one will be released in 4 days. So you guys will be able to see that over that time frame. But you're going to want to get in there and start studying that seller financing because that is the strategy to be doing now. And you know what? It could be anybody. It could be your next door neighbor. It could be 5 people in your neighborhood that need your help with this. And you walk into a property with equity at a low payment with a low interest rate where you walk into an asset that you can just start renting out for cash flow. So,
and in the chat, and for anybody that's watching this on YouTube on a later date or now, it doesn't really matter, but if you want a copy of our seller finance contract, which is actually very different than a lot of other people's, it's definitely different from the Utah real estate contract. If you want a copy of that, put your email in the link below, or not in the link, but yeah, actually, if you're watching
in the chat,
in the chat,
or in the comments if you're on YouTube.
Comments later on, we will get a copy over there, to you if if that's something that you're interested in, and then if you need help walking through how to fill it out and stuff, that's also something that we're more than happy to help you figure out because it's exciting, right? It's just so exciting to get some seller finance deals going. It is absolutely the time to do it. And surrounding yourself around people that also know how to do it is fun because you can talk about different ways to strategize it. We actually, most of you were actually on the call, but some of you weren't. When we actually went through one of our offers, there was a really cool seller finance strategy that this guy came up with. It was clever, right? But we definitely didn't take it because it was too weird. But almost, right? Almost could have made it work, but they weren't willing to change some of their terms.
And that's another reason you guys want to be here is we do a lot of things on this call. I know we've got a lot of new people on the call today. You want to be here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time because not only do we go into market updates often, especially in this volatile market that we're in, it feels like we need a market update every week, right? We do them a couple times a month on this call. We're doing trainings, we're doing walkthroughs of actual deals that are going on right now by ourselves and by our students. We do one of my favorite things, deal or no deal. We got a few champions on the call tonight. Aaron Merrill and Rosa are our reigning champions of deal or no deal. We need to probably do that 3rd week or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, let's do it again. I'm just getting all your emails. I'm like, not on my computer. So I'm like, I don't know how to get all these.
Taking pictures of the screen.
Getting all your emails. I also
I get it done one way or another.
Yeah, everyone that added their email last week to get my newsletter where I do a full market update. I do it once a month. You did get added to the list. So we will be dropping that here soon. So you'll get that. But then anybody who didn't see this last week and wants that market update, I do email it out once a month. So feel free to send your email over if you'd like that as well. And yeah, we'll get you guys squared away for the market.
So I think while we were talking about it, and while you're here, because you work out you're the liaison for the text message reminder for the call.
Okay.
Next week we are going to be talking about funding using credit and using lines of credit. And we've got a guest speaker, Mike Irizarry, and his partner, Oscar. Can't remember Oscar's last name. But Mike and Oscar are coming on to talk about using lines of credit to fund your real estate transactions, be it single family deals or larger multifamily deals or even commercial deals. And for those of you who have watched our velocity banking and our speed banking trainings, understand the power of using a line of credit to fund real estate. So you aren't going to want to miss that. That's going to be next week. And then the following week, why don't we do a deal or no deal?
I love that. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Okay.
So excited. We have so many amazing things coming up. I also actually just found our brokerages just launched this whole thing, and we're partnering up with Goldman Sachs, where they're actually going to be purchasing these deals for us as agents. If this is exciting for anybody, if you're a real estate agent here in Utah, we just partnered up with them in a way that we can actually go to any one of your clients and be like, hey, you don't qualify for a loan, but you can in 7 months or whatever. They'll buy the house, seller finance, and lease option it back to the homeowner. So we can go to all the renters right now, every renter, and be like, hey, let's get you in a home now. It's going to be cheaper than renting, right? Because 100% interest on a rental is always more expensive than even if it's 7% interest on an actual home that you're rent-to-owning. I love that concept. It's really, and you get paid commission on every deal. Goldman Sachs pays you. What?
That's dope.
I know. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Maeli, do you have to be an agent to do that?
Yeah, that one.
Or know an agent.
Or no, and that's it, right? I mean, so if you're like, well, I'm not an agent, but I know somebody who really could use that program because they're renting, and maybe, for instance, I have a client who he just changed jobs, and he needs one more year of work history, and until then he can't do anything. Well, this is a perfect example for that. He has income, he has a good credit, he has everything he needs, but he needs one more year. That there's a box that he doesn't fit in. Well, let's go outside of that box. Goldman Sachs will basically buy up this property and at retail price, right? No big deal. And then I get paid within 5 days. Oh, what? That means, we could partner up maybe on deals like that too. So let me know if there's someone that we can help take care of.
So we can bring it to an agent. Mm-hmm. So there is commission involved for us.
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
Yeah, right? I know.
This one.
Come to me. I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but it doesn't always have to be, if that was helpful. I mean, sometimes with seller finance deals, in fact, I encourage you to not add a commission sometimes, depending on how you're negotiating this, because that is a sales tactic, right? It's like, oh, well, if we do this and we're buying this, and we're setting up this way, we avoid commissions completely, because it kills the deal a lot of times if there is a commission involved. So.
Yep. Any questions so far? I mean, so we've talked a little bit about market update. We've talked about strategies that are really what our focus should be right now because of the market and what it's doing. Are there any questions around that? And if you want to dive into, strategy questions, or if you want clarification, or if you want us to dive deeper on a specific part of that topic.
I have a question.
Yeah. Shoot. What's up, Tim?
Hey, how's it going, you guys?
Good.
Regarding we were talking about the market. If prices are seemingly going to stabilize, how does that, or what's the plan to market to people who can't afford the houses now, because they've been priced out of the market?
Yeah.
Apparently, right now they said 73% of Utahns can't afford their own homes.
Yeah, so I mean that's a really good question. So we've got this lethal combination of inflated prices that don't seem to be going down, right? Which is I think what the Fed's trying to do is they're trying to get it to go down. They've at least stabilized it because they're not going up still. And in many parts of the area, right? If we go back to that graph that we were looking at, it's in the blue parts of the area, not the red, or the blue parts of the country, not the red parts of the country on that graph that we had. So we've got inflated prices from what we saw during the COVID spike, right? From 2020 to 2021, really up until about March of 2022 when they started raising the rates. We saw this spike in values like we've never seen before. And then in order to compensate for that, the Fed started jacking the rates up, like Maeli said earlier, quicker than we've ever seen in history. So now we've got this lethal cocktail of inflated values and inflated rates that are just pricing people out. I mean, you know, most people make their calculations based on what they can afford monthly, based on their monthly cash flow. And we have literally just priced ourselves out of you know, being able to sell homes to people because the jobs market hasn't kept up, salaries haven't kept up, inflation's kept up, but salaries haven't kept up with that, right? Yeah. And I think a really good indication of where we're at right now is looking at the rentals market. This is really the first time, and I've been through some ups and downs in my 10 years. Fortunately, I missed the 2008 crisis in real estate. I started investing in 2013. But I have seen some ups and downs over that time. Never seen a time where mortgages were more expensive than rent from a cash flow perspective, except right now. And I think what that's indicating is the affordability. Renting right now is becoming a popular thing because it's more affordable than owning a home. So really the only benefits that you get from owning a home are the long-term appreciation and the equity that you're going to build. But from a cash flow perspective, you better be able to afford it. You better be doing pretty well. Home ownership right now is a privilege, right? It's a luxury. What makes seller finance such a great thing is that we can go back and we can take advantage of I'm getting weird auto white balancing. Sorry about that. Let's see if we can fix that. So what's making seller finance a fantastic strategy right now is that we can go back, we can find people who are about to lose their mortgage, right? Find people who are in trouble, who haven't made their payments in a while, or maybe weren't able to catch up after the forbearance ended. And we can utilize their mortgages. A lot of these people will have gotten their mortgage in 2020 or 2021 when the rates were 3.5%, right? So their payments are significantly lower. They also have balances that are lower because values were considerably lower, right? So as long as they didn't refinance in 2022, they're a good candidate. Going back beyond that, 2018, 2017, back even as far as 2015, rates are below 5%. So you're going to be walking into a situation, if you've got a mortgage that's that old, that someone's defaulted on, that we can now come in and negotiate and take over the payments on that mortgage, leaving them as the guarantor of the mortgage, but turning the title over to us or you as the investor. You can now take advantage of the fact that payment is really low, that rate is really low. You can charge market rents and still make a profit, which you can't do if you buy a retail property today with a conventional mortgage. You just can't do it. So it opens that back up, and it takes advantage of what we saw historically over the last 5-10 years with rates and values. It also takes advantage of the demand for and the low supply for rentals right now.
Can I give another little weird market update that is actually true? So
I've see if I can fix that white balance while you're talking. So I'm gonna fidget with it a little bit.
So I've reached, or multiple fix and flippers have reached out to me.
Hey, sorry. Let me interrupt real quick. Tim, I just want to make sure I answered your question. Did we answer that?
No, you did.
Okay.
I was going to add something to it when we're done, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
It's just that I was just actually talking to one of the managers at one of my Airbnbs, and I was giving her some data that I had found that was up to date from Yardi, and it had to do with Salt Lake City in particular, and the fact that right now we've got about 112,000 or 123,000 apartments online within the city limits, of which 55,000, there's another 55,000 that permits have been pulled on of apartments. That's huge. Of which 23,000 are under construction. So that's why the properties here in this area specifically are doing incredible rent specials now. We're up to 2 months on brand new buildings, which is scary because it's cheaper for me to leave my existing Airbnb and go to a new building, which makes no sense.
Yeah. But it's what the market's doing, and the fact that you have a pulse on it allows you to react to it.
Bingo.
Right? I mean, real estate is such a subjective thing, and this is why I think that we will the way that we teach real estate, the way that we've been taught real estate has been more of an approach of I've got a tool belt, and the information that I'm learning about real estate, I'm just adding tools to my tool belt, right? When I first became a real estate investing student, I thought it was like there's one path, and like I have like a checklist and a clipboard, and I just like, okay, I went down to the thing and I bought the thing, and then I did the other thing, and then now I'm done, right? But it's actually it's a very subjective thing. Every deal's different, every market is different, every individual you negotiate with has different needs and different problems, and there's different resolutions to their problems, and so the more you can learn. In fact, Maeli was just sharing with me today an encounter that she had with somebody that has flipped a couple of properties and was like, no, I'm good. I don't need any education. I know it all. I flipped 2 homes, right? And we're like, oh, you have no idea what you're,
She's over leveraging everything. She is, she's so
You never
screwed.
stop learning.
So
you
screwed.
never stop learning.
She's so screwed.
And the more tools you can put in your tool belt, the more problems you're going to be able to solve in the field, right? And of course, when we're talking about tool belt, we're talking about, your brain here. And we always like to say, this is the most valuable real estate that you'll ever invest in. And that's true. We can get more deals done in a profitable way the more knowledge that we have. In fact, Maeli and I we met in our real estate training that we took. We both took the same program to learn how to do real estate. I was actually an instructor when she came in. It's a fantastic program. We each individually spent $23,000 on this education. Thinking at the time, I'm sure for you, I know this was true for me, you can speak to your situation, but I thought, yeah, that's all I ever need to spend, right? I spend 23 grand and I'm good for the rest of my life. I'll learn everything there is to know and I'll be good. Well, here I am 10 years into my real estate investor career, and I just spent 2 weeks ago another $30,000 on education, right? Because it's important, because the next step for what we're going to do is going to be having to put together private equity funds. And so I spent $30,000 on coaching and education to be able to go put these funds together and understand and mitigate risk through knowledge on how to maneuver that and get that done. So,
and he's going to share some fun things about that, because I know that that's part of our call tonight. So
we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Definitely going to share some.
We're also going to talk about it in more detail next week, because Mike and Oscar are actually part of that private equity fund. So,
perfect.
So they are our investor relations team.
Perfect. Yeah, they're amazing. You'll love them.
So that'll be a two-parter.
Yeah.
Your thought?
Nope, I don't remember.
It went away.
Hey, Mitch, just a quick question, if
Yeah.
I could.
What's up,
On
David?
your seller finance situations, are these people mostly ones that are in some type of foreclosure or just a need to sell? And if so, how much equity are they looking to get out?
Yeah, that's a good question. But before I answer your question, I need to ask you, is that background real?
No.
Oh yeah, I'm at
You're
the
just
beach.
hanging out? You're somewhere where it's light right now on the beach?
I wish.
Oh boy.
I thought I saw the wind blowing through your hair, but I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah. Funny. Yeah.
But okay, so let me answer your question. So, by the way, thank you for being here today. It's so good to see you.
It's so good
Yeah.
to see you.
So yes, again, subjective, right? Every lead that we're going to contact, every person we're going to approach is going to be in a different situation. However, your average seller, the guy who got the promotion at work and wants to sell this house to buy a bigger house, but also, he makes more money now, but also needs the equity out of the previous house to be able to buy the bigger one. That's not our guy. And that's most sellers. That's not our guy. So we can't just go hop on the MLS and start calling listing after listing. Well, I mean, maybe in this market it might work.
I was gonna say, if you're an
houses
agent,
aren't selling right
that's
now.
not actually the case, because there's a lot of money to be made doing exactly what he just
Maybe
said.
with a short balloon, like a 12-month balloon or something, you could make that happen with probably any listing on the market right now. But in a general sense, we want to find motivated sellers. And so the most motivated people we know of, or that we can think of, that are motivated sellers are people who are going to lose their house if they don't sell it. These are people who are behind on their payments, people who are in default with the bank, who have received that notice of default letter from the bank. And by the way, that's how we find them, is that notice of default letter. When the bank files a notice of default, they have to file that same letter of default with the county that the house is in, for a number of reasons, so that the county can record that the letter was delivered, but also so the county knows who they should collect property taxes from. If the bank's going to own your home instead of you, the county wants to know about it so they know where to send the bill in November, right? County record is public record. We can go find these addresses, use the magic of Google to connect the homeowners with the addresses and get contact information and reach out to these people and say, hey, look, you're going to lose your house anyway. You're either going to lose it to the bank and they're going to destroy your credit for a decade, or you can lose it to me and we'll save your credit together. So the way that looks is turn the house over to me, deed it over to me, you keep your mortgage in place, I bring the cash to bring it current, so now it's a good mark on your credit, goes from a delinquent mark to a current mark, and we are going to make those payments every single month on time. So actually you're going to see some credit repair as long as you don't do anything else that's stupid, right? So
But
as
that
they're
doesn't hurt
weighing,
us any, so.
as they're weighing this, they're looking at it saying, well, lose my house to the bank and lose my credit, or give my house to Mitch Maeli and save my credit. Of course I'm going to do that. In fact, they view us as angels for the first part of this, right? Now, as their credit repairs and they get into that mode of like, okay, I'm ready to go out and buy a house again, now we're not angels anymore.
I am now. Goldman Sachs
We're
is
now an
coming
encumbrance on their credit, and they want to go and part of why we're starting an equity fund, right? So we can take advantage of when our seller finance partners don't want to be our partners anymore, because it inevitably always happens. We help them and they want to run away.
Yeah,
they're like teenagers, man.
Oh well.
They're like, it's like you raise them from children, and then they get to their teenage years and they're pissed off at you for everything you've done. I'm starting to see how this works.
Yeah, that's about children. That's what it is. But you have to realize too.
I have
it's
a 14-year-old.
Yeah, history does repeat itself with people too, and their lending habits and their money activities. So you'll see on the county records sometimes where it's like default, non-default, default, non-default, default. And they're coming in and out of default. They're calling the bank and they're renegotiating a contract.
Filing bankruptcy, they can get an extra couple of months by doing that.
I mean, there's all sorts of things that they can do to really buy time, and they have a really good lawyer. I mean, I met a guy last year that has actually extended it 5 years. He has been in notice of default essentially for 5 years, but he just has a lawyer that just keeps sending a letter, and every time he sends a letter, it like gives them X amount of time. It was chaos. I just thought, all to not pay your mortgage. That's, I mean, it's clever, obviously, but
the record that I saw was 12 years. That's the longest I've ever seen. Someone was able to fight off the bank for 12 years, and finally I got a phone call from them saying, and it was just a referral from another contact, a mutual contact that we had, and they said, hey, so and so said you're the real estate guy. I've been in default for 12 years. I haven't made a payment, and want to see if you can help me, because they're about to foreclose. I fought them off as long as I could. 12 years.
The answer is heck no. Are you kidding me?
Most are like 90 days, 120 days, 180 days.
No,
maybe.
they'd be like half the mortgage.
Yeah.
The answer is heck no. The fees would be insane.
I wish I would have done it now. It was, it was like 5 acres in the Cove in Harriman.
I do remember. Oh, that would have been.
2016. Yeah, we were the pretty penny now.
So I do remember my comment. So as far as a little bit of a market update, I have had multiple fix and flippers call me in the last couple of days. Multiple. And every single one of them is going, do you have any deals? Do you have any deals that we could buy? Do you have any deals? Do you have any deals? Are you finding deals? Are you, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? They're calling me, begging me for deals, because that's obviously what I do for a living. That's all I do all day long, and my team does. Well, I'm going, what are you talking about? There's lots of deals out there, right? The market is exactly that. We're prime. We're poised for exactly what this market is, right? But then they're panicking. They can't find any deals. And I'm going, what are you talking about, right? Well, so one of them was saying that he made 15 offers this week. So that means just 3 days. And he called me on the way down from Salt Lake. So he's made 15 offers in the last 3 days. And every single one of them got sold before, he got bought out from. And these are crap properties. Like, they're not super nice. They all need rehabbed, right? And they're in the $400,000 range to purchase. So ARV is probably close to $650.
It's tough in a sideways market, man. It's hard to flip in a sideways. I mean, it's just not a viable strategy.
And
it's
I'm
way
like,
it's
well,
way too scarce.
The reason, and this is what they're coming up against, I'm like, well, this is the thing, is there's incredible deals out there. And I'm like, yeah, I got you, right? I'll send some stuff over. I want my commission. But yeah, I'll send some stuff over. But at the end of the day, that was the frustrating part, is that they're going, there's no deals. Like, this is a great market to buy in because we can, get everything we want. But at the same time, what?
They're just looking for the wrong stuff.
Oh, well, that's it, right? They're looking at the wrong numbers. They're playing with the wrong numbers. I missed out on this credible deal that I had a couple weeks ago. And the numbers they actually did work. But it took me 5 hours. Like, it was a long process to really go through every single strategy on this one deal.
Can I just say, this is exactly what you're talking about is exactly what I was trying to say with the Toolbelt analogy.
Right.
Like, if you have one tool, if all you have is a hammer, try building a house with just a hammer. Right? Like, what happens when you come up against a screw? It's kind of hard to use a hammer when you need it, or when you got to cut a 2x4. Right? You start hacking at it with the claw, like, not, you can't build a house with just a hammer. You need a variety, a cornucopia, if you will, of tools. Thanks. I practiced that one, actually. It was the word of the day. Try to squeeze it in there. How'd I do? No, you need multiple tools, right? You can't just be a flipper. You can't just be the fix and flip person, because if you're just the fix and flip person, when the market changes, you're running around like the family on Home Alone when their alarm clock doesn't go off, right? I mean, you're like, what do? I need to make some money. I quit my job last year because it was so awesome, and now I don't know, I don't know where to find my deals. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, dude, bring the tools to the party. Let's go. Yeah. Get some more education. Let's get out and get some rental deals done. Get some seller finance deals done. Start doing some Airbnbs. I mean, Tim, you're killing it in this market, right? Airbnbs are going crazy. Tim, still with us? You're on mute if you're talking.
No, I'm sorry. I'm here.
No, you're good. Yeah, no. So last I heard from Tim, he was killing it with the Airbnb stuff. That's, we just have to be able to pivot, because the market is going to change. We have no control over that, and we don't have a crystal ball to know when it will change, so that we can stockpile and prevent ourselves from holding properties when we shouldn't be holding property. None of us can make that kind of prediction. So we have to have exit strategies in place. We have to have alternate strategies to be able to continue to work as real estate investors when the market has shifted from what it was before. So
my strategy of late, I was just talking to somebody else. I have looked at 10 Airbnbs that people are trying to get rid of in Salt Lake. And unfortunately, that's what led to my question. My one comment, I should say, is that I can literally go across the street to a brand new building and get a rent that's $300 less, plus 2 months free rent, et cetera. And that's very frustrating on the other side of it as an owner as well. So
right,
it's being very strategic is what we have to be.
Yeah. And I do think that it's a long play, right? Everything that we talk about, everything that's on this, anyone that's been in real estate or even owned your own house for longer than 10 years, for a fact that this is not the way it's going to always be. And there will always be an up curve. Always. I mean, it will never not have another peak. It will always come back up. It always does. Yeah. You just have to hold on to it. And so sometimes
time heals all in real estate.
Sometimes, and we have a guy, Matt from Neo Home Loans. He is such a stud. Love him. But he has 100 real estate, or he has 100 rentals, and his whole philosophy is to never sell them, right? I'm going to hold these for 100 years. And I love that, right? It's like, yeah, why would you ever get rid of them, right? But he like, even for him, his strategy, I'm not saying this is what you should be doing because that's not what we teach, but his strategy, even if he's losing money, $100 a month, $200 a month, he could care less. And the reason is because of exactly what we're talking about. He knows that in 10 years, this property now is worth $200,000 more. This property now, he can strip it out, you know, and get a HELOC on it, right? Or a business, you know, a line of credit, and then go buy 10 more rentals. Like he could care less about the actual dollar amount of what the cash flow is, because at the end of the day, he just wants properties. And right now is the best time to buy. If you possibly could and you had a crystal ball, we might not ever see this crazy, weird, unique scenario ever again. Because hopefully COVID doesn't, you know, another thing of COVID doesn't see its light into us. But even then, if something even crazy like that happens, we're so much more prepared. Like industry wise, we have now different things to combat something that's like that it wouldn't really probably disrupt our economy as not even a quarter as much as it did this last time. So I do think that it would take a lot to create this interesting pattern of, you know, business that just took place. So anyway, now is the best time. Now is the best time. Now, I mean, that has been now is the best time to buy. I don't know how many times I've heard that in the last 3 days, but it's
quiet like crazy.
Now is the best time to buy. And there is plenty of deals. You just need to know where you're looking and how you're looking for.
I never want to sell another piece of real estate.
I don't either.
And if I do, because I mean, we do have, and in one of the modules I'm going to be releasing in this 16-part rental investment series that we're just dropping on YouTube starting today, 2 hours ago. One of the modules that I teach is about drawing a blank right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's about
buy and holds.
It's all about buy and holds. It's about maintenance cycle. Maintenance cycle. That's the word. Those are the words I was looking for. It's about maintenance cycle, right? It doesn't make sense to go out and buy a house and keep that house for 100 years, because you're going to use your cash flow. You know, you get cash flow for 15 years, but then you're going to use all of that to replace the roof and the furnace and the AC unit and the water heater and all those things. So, you know, maybe we do sell properties, but 1031 that money just into another property, right? And play monopoly for the rest of our lives. But
that's a good point.
I want to be
holding
properties.
Fix and flips is one of the best.
I never want our portfolio going down in quantity, right? I always want it like going up. Let's go up.
Yeah, for sure. I do think that buying fix and flips are a really great strategy. When I have buyers come to me and they're wanting a second home, right, for like a rental or for their kids or whatever. Later on in life, like, oh, my kids could live in it or whatever, you know, I absolutely recommend them to recognize that buy a fix and flip from a good fix and flipper, because everything's brand new. So you don't have to deal with the builder. You don't have to deal with all of that.
Well, and also if you're a fix and flipper, burst strategy, right? Burst strategy, BRRR. So buy, rehab, rent, refinance.
For the higher value.
If you're a fix and flipper, you're a burst strategy person now. That's just what you do in this market, right? And do it with seller finance deals. Learn that seller finance acquisition. I mean, geez, what a perfect thing for your fix and flipper friend to be doing.
Oh, I know.
But she's got to get educated because she's going to hurt herself.
Yes. Well, the problem is that she's at like 15% interest now because she hit her 6th month.
Cool.
Yeah, she just hit her 6th month, and so she's like, and it's not selling. You know, she's just, poor girl. She for sure is going to be the reason why people don't do real estate investing. She gives the bad name.
Flipsider Production says that's a nice looking YouTube channel.
Oh,
better be. You made it.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Jacob.
That's Jacob. He's our producer on the YouTube channel and our editor as well. And he's on the YouTube stream today. So, in fact, I wish Jacob, you could like impose video clips, right? Like it would have been perfect to actually have that scene from Home Alone. So guys, any other questions? Oh, one more shout out, because I thought of this when we were talking about how well Tim's doing in this market. Rosa's also crushing it. I mean, she was just telling us the other day she got to take like a month-long vacation. I'm actually jealous. Like I had to work through the month of December, but Rosa was off having some fun, and it's because her real estate's crushing it because she made good decisions.
Yes.
So congratulations, Rosa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, we're already planning our next 30 days
Yes.
for it won't be soon, but next December. So we're already
Yes.
planning
Maeli and I are invited, right?
Of course.
Part of your family.
We'll
Yeah.
meet you there.
Of course.
Bora Bora.
Everyone give a round of applause. Like, that's amazing. That's
so
seriously,
awesome. Good for you,
yes.
Rosa.
I love
That's
that.
incredible.
That's what it's about. It was actually fun. So our daughter, she's 14, going on 30, right? And she's in 9th grade. And her whole world is volleyball and boys, basically, right? In school, like, she's AP student, she's a straight A student,
kids.
so she's very, yeah. And she's like, Mom, she's like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. And so she's, in 9th grade, so she has to make decisions for college right now. Like, she has to put together this portfolio and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of this, right? But nevertheless, so here she goes, like, hey, I have to get to college. I have to pick a profession. I have to, start my career. I got to figure all of this out at 14. And I'm like, no, don't do any of that. But nevertheless, okay, good, do that. She's like, what do I pick? And of course, what do I say? Business. Hello, you can't ever go wrong with a business and marketing degree or a business degree of any kind, because every business needs a person that can handle business, right? Like, that's across the board. If you're a doctor and you can know how to run a business, you're that much more profitable. Anyway, so we were talking and we were talking about how we have these rentals, and that one day, she'll need to know how to manage the managers, right? Manage the property managers, and just the different conversations. So I said, business really will be the best thing you possibly can invest in if you do want, right, our generational wealth. She's like, what? Generational wealth? Like, she's kind of getting after it, and all of a sudden she goes, wait a second. Generational wealth? Because I'm not going to give you money. She goes, well, I don't want your money. I want to make my own, right? She's very, independent. I want to make my own. And it's like, of course you do. Go make your own, girl. Like, absolutely. I'm not giving you a dime. Don't worry about it. I'm like, right? And until you earn it, right? I'm not giving you anything. She goes, okay, good. And then we got talking, and all of a sudden she goes, wait a second. So I hear you say generational wealth all the time. I'm like, yeah. She goes, but generational wealth isn't money? And I said, no. She goes, it's knowledge, huh? And I said, yeah.
Ding.
That's exactly what it is.
Brad Perry
knowledge.
moment.
Right?
I mean, they'll get money too.
But
they're gonna get
here's
knowledge.
the thing. They wouldn't know how to manage the money if they don't have the knowledge. We could give them $2 million tomorrow. What would they do with it?
Or $17 million worth of real estate. They wouldn't know what to do with
gone.
it. If they didn't know what to do with it, it's useless.
Absolutely. So it is 100% knowledge. And, you look at classes. This is something that I can 100% relate to. I don't know if anybody else in here grew up super poor. Right? Where's all my friends that were poor. So, yeah, he wasn't
Can't
poor.
relate.
I was. So, if you grew up poor, there's a social class that, people will be talking, and you'll just feel like you have no idea what they're talking about. There is a social class that does take place, and you have to work to get into that social class. And you know what all it is knowledge. Once you have the knowledge and you're in that social class, it's like, oh, that's funny. Like, I thought that was a big deal. It's not now, right? But that is what it takes. Anyway, there's my rant on knowledge. But
Well, I love the comment too, because that was a couple of days ago that you guys had that conversation.
Yeah.
But then yesterday, she was asking more questions about, like, okay, so if I wanted to be an investor or whatever, like, I'm gonna have to find like attorneys, and I'm gonna have to find accountants. And I was like, well, great news, like, we already have all those relationships. We'll just use my attorney and just use my accountant. It's like, isn't that cheating? Like, she really wants to just do it on her own. She
isn't
doesn't want
that cheating?
any help whatsoever. Don't talk to me. Don't help me. I'm gonna do exactly what you're doing without your help.
Yeah. No, don't do that. That's not education, right? Like, that is not being educated. And then she's like, ding, 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 right?
Teenager.
Well, yeah, there's that. But
Let's open up for questions. We're at the top of the hour. I think that time's going to better be served if I don't split up the equity fund information. We'll save that for next week when the guys are on.
Well, give us a little teaser, maybe.
But let's, teaser, the same as last week. We're setting up a private equity fund. That's going to take us to the next level. Up to this point, Maeli and I have been doing a process called syndication to fund most of our deals, which just means we're going out and we're using other people's money. Some of you on the call are equity partners in some of our deals. We use a joint venture contract to be able to execute those deals through a process called syndication. But syndication's only scalable to a point, right? You can only go so far on syndication before you're like, I need way more money to be able to go and do the things that I am talented enough and skilled enough to do at this point. And so that's enter equity funds, right? Private equity funds. This is where you start getting into the 10 million and the 15 million and the 100 million, and even as high as Grant Cardone has a private equity fund of $4 billion, right? So Meili and I are graduating. We're graduating into the 5th grade of real estate investing. So, you know, guys, if there's one thing, well, we were in kindergarten like 3 times, so we were held back a little bit. No, if there's one thing that I can share with you though, that is just kind of philosophical about real estate investing in general, that is that there is no destination. Like there's not a place that you're going with it. And as much as our brains want to be like, there's an island out there and I'm gonna go find it and that's where I'm going. This will be my avatar, and when I get there I'm done. Like I'll just continue to just be on that island, right? And it's not that way. There is no destination. We're never going to stop learning. We're never going to stop growing. You're never going to stop learning or growing. And it's about the journey. I mean, there are so many blessings that have come into our lives because of real estate investing, because of the people that we've met, because of the money that we've been able to make, and the people we've been able to help, and the people who have helped us, the people who have offered a hand down, and you know, kind of helped pull us to that next level. The people who have helped us get through struggles and through challenges in our careers, our mentors, our educators. There are so many amazing blessings and things that have come from just the journey of learning to invest in real estate, and we're just entering another chapter of that. And you know what? It's never gonna end. I mean, it will end.
What?
The destination is when you die. That's the end of the book. You die.
Rest in peace.
Sorry to spoil it. That's I guess that's a major spoiler. The end is you die. But on the way, we're gonna have some fun and we're gonna make some money. We're gonna build some wealth, and
give it to our kids.
And we're gonna pass along that generational wealth to the next crazy group of kids. They've got their own language now, so I don't know if they're even gonna understand how to do any of this stuff.
That's whack. I do have a video that I want to play, so if that's okay, we'll open up for questions.
Let's open up the questions first.
And then I want to play a video, and then we can be done.
Okay, I love it. Guys, anything that kind of crossed your mind is over the last half hour that we've been chatting since we opened up for questions last? Anything you want to talk about? Any strategies do you want clarification on? Let's chat. Eugene, what you got, my friend?
I've got a quick question. So a friend of mine that I've just met here in the Boston area, he's very keen to get into a rental at this point. And so there it's like a 5-family property that's come up, or multifamily. But the problem is it's being sold by the bank. They currently have tenants in there, but they are refusing to show the property, stating or giving the excuse they don't want to inconvenience the tenants. Now the property's come at a pretty good discount at the moment, so it seems that there's good value. But just looking at the property from the outside, you know, there are some real concerns. You know, having gone through some repairs and experiences, the budget that they've allocated to make this thing profitable and positive cash flow, it doesn't make sense. So, my caution to him was, without really getting information about the tenants, you have no idea how long these rentals are for. Is it rent controlled? So they're being very secretive about the whole thing. And again, my question to you is this pretty normal in your experience with dealing with some foreclosures, especially from the bank's perspective?
Does he have it under contract?
No, but he's very keen to proceed.
Okay. Yeah. So most sellers, especially banks, only gauge your interest by what's in writing. So my suggestion, now we actually came up, the same person. I think you were telling me a story today, same person that you talked to before about the flipper person, who wasn't aware of conditions that you can back out of contracts. So a contract, so this is actually a really good opportunity to share a little nugget about negotiating offers. And specifically about contracts. Now, keep in mind, I'm not your attorney. I'm not your accountant. So, as you're writing offers, make sure on subjective properties, make sure you seek personal legal advice.
Title is your
because
best
this
friend.
is an objective lesson, not a subjective lesson. So, But when you're writing a real estate offer, there's 3 things that give us the ability to back out. So those things are due diligence. We can set a due diligence time frame, and it's up to the person who's making the offer that gets to choose that. So that can be anywhere from no due diligence at all, so 0 days, to as many days as you want. You can do 1,000,000 years of due diligence if you want to. Obviously, don't do that because they're not going to accept that offer. But reasonably, for how many units did you say it was? 5 units?
5 or 6, I forget exact number.
Okay,
but,
yeah. So reasonable is 30 days of due diligence.
Oh, that's a commercial deal now.
Yeah,
it's over 4. Now
it's over 4. Yeah.
You could do 4 months and it would be practical.
So I think anywhere from 30 to 90 days of due diligence is reasonable, where he can just totally back out. All he has to do is send a cancellation notice, which is a letter saying I'm not going to buy your stinking property, right, with his signature on it. So he's an offer. People get so scared because they think an offer is like, now I'm making a commitment that I have to follow through on. No, as a buyer, you have a right to get to know what you're going to be buying, and kick the tires and look under the hood and make sure the maintenance has been happening.
I actually have a video on this. Go watch it. I have this entire training.
It's on YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, we'll point that out in just a second. Okay. But so don't be scared to make that offer. Just make sure your due diligence is appropriate, and then know when that cutoff date is, so that you can back out if you're going to back out before the deadline. Because and you get your earnest money back if you do it right. But if it's after that deadline, you're going to lose your earnest money.
Walk away. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably still can walk away. Some states give the opportunity, like Utah gives the seller the opportunity to sue the buyer and have the judge enforce the purchase, which would suck. But in most cases,
if you back out because of financing, though, they can't do that.
But in most cases, sellers just opt to keep your earnest money.
Okay.
So just set your due diligence at a reasonable time, 30 to 90 days. The closer to 30 days, the stronger the contract. And then just make sure if you're going to back out, you do it before those 30 days are up. And then, so that's the teaching part. So let me get back to your specific question. And then make an offer, get it under contract, have your due diligence period where you can go do your inspections and run all your numbers and sharpen your pencil and get it down so that you understand exactly what you're getting into. If it's a deal, great, close on it. If it's not a deal, don't close on it. But Eugene, what state? Massachusetts?
Yeah, this is Massachusetts.
Okay. The Utah REPC, let me actually pull that up because you are going to probably find something very similar here. So let me share screens here so everybody can see it.
Everybody.
Which screen did I share? What can you guys see?
Right now, it's still starting to share screen. Okay, now it's your YouTube studio.
Okay, yep. So we're going to jump in, and we're going to go Utah REPC. REPC is an acronym for Real Estate Purchase Contract. So we're going to let me get this stinking box out of the way. Come on.
I know, it's so annoying.
There we go. Okay. So real estate purchase contract. Eugene, if you notice I typed in Utah REPC, just type in Massachusetts REPC. But I'm gonna show you the example on the Utah REPC because I know it better. I've never bought a deal or made an offer in Massachusetts, so I don't know. But I did all this stuff and now I forgot what I was gonna show.
I was like, what are you looking for?
What was I gonna show him? I don't know. Is it the due diligence? So the due diligence here is in. It was a due diligence. I remember what I was going to show you. Okay. So due diligence.
8.1.
So right here, 8.1 on the Utah REPC. And you can look at this language and you can actually. So if the Massachusetts REPC, Eugene, does not have the language that you feel comfortable with, and let's say you are comfortable with the Utah language, you can actually create a Massachusetts addendum, copy and paste the Utah language, and add it to that contract in an addendum.
That strikes out essentially 8.1 in your current addendum or your current contract.
This is why I wanted to show you this. Seller, so this is part of the contract. So I come in and I'm like, okay, buyer's obligation to purchase the property is conditioned upon buyer's due diligence as defined in this section 8.1A below. This condition is referred to as due diligence condition. If checked in the affirmative, section 8.1a through 8.1c apply, otherwise they do not. And then due diligence. Buyer's due diligence shall consist of buyer's review and approval of the contents of the disclosures, blah, 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 and gives me all the reasons I can back out, which basically are anything except for the other things specifically covered, like appraisal and finance.
Okay.
Because those things are specifically covered in other sections. So those are the only things I can't back out of. But I could be like, your house smells like pickle juice, I'm not buying it. And that would be a legal reason for me to back out in due diligence. Like literally anything. Your curtains are pink and I hate pink. So bye, right? So yeah, you can literally back out for any reason. But here's why specifically I wanted to share my screen and show this to you, Eugene. This that I've highlighted here. Seller agrees to cooperate with buyer's due diligence. Buyer agrees to pay for any damages to the property resulting from any such inspections. So what this means is seller agrees to cooperate with buyer's due diligence. If I need to see
rent rolls,
rent rolls, like that's in here. I mean, if I need to see documents, you got to provide me with those documents. You agreed to cooperate with my due diligence.
Utility costs.
So now it's a contractual obligation to cooperate.
Yep. And you do, like, you'll need to know, what are the utility? Are they paying utility? Are you paying utility? You need to know what that is, because you got to accommodate that. You got to know insurance. I need proof of insurance. Like, what do you have on this property? What's the liability on this property? Have you made insurance claims? What has been changed? All of those things, play a huge part in it. When you're getting your inspection done, obviously you got to have a good inspector, and they need to go through the entire property and verify how long you have on each utility item in the home, right? Whether it's your water heater or your furnace or stove, kitchen, the whole 9 yards, right? Those are all key indicators of what is considered a good buy, or now maybe not a good buy.
Yeah. So first off, your buddy needs to be educated. So have him call me. Or Maeli.
Definitely.
She tends to be a little nicer than I am. So either one of us, have him call either one of us. But he does need someone to help him walk through the stuff here, because while it is simple, there are a lot of ways to do it wrong. And when we're talking about $1 million, we don't want to lose $1 million. We don't want to lose any part of $1 million. Actually, we want it to stay $1 million. So, I would have him reach out to us. We're happy to help. In fact, get him on the call.
Yeah.
This is a great place to talk about this
and
stuff.
And you could bring the deal or no deal.
We could talk about it. We could talk about the actual deal on the call. But Eugene, the specific, I hesitate to call it advice because I'm not your attorney, but I'm not his attorney. I'm not even an attorney. But what I would do is get it under contract, because the contract doesn't just the contract gives us all the ability to back out if we don't like it within that due diligence period. And by the way, so it references the deadline in section 24B. I get to set that deadline. It gives me a blank in section 24D. Section 24D, settlement deadline. I get to write in whatever I want, right? Due diligence deadline. Yeah. I get to write in whatever I want there. So that's where I write in. I give myself 30 to 90 days. And as long as I back out before then, my earnest money deposit is returned if I back out. So we're safe there. But what it does do is it puts the onus on the bank to cooperate with the due diligence process.
Perfect. Great. Thanks very much, guys.
Does that probably more than you probably bit off more than you can chew at that one. That answered your question, I hope.
Oh yeah, thanks so much.
Okay, good. Alrighty. Any other questions? Time is yours, my friends.
So they were talking about in Salt Lake City, or one of the Utah cities, that they were building a lot of rentals, and those rentals were lower than what's on the market now, meaning maybe it's correcting just because the rates went up so much. But for a while, new builds were more expensive than purchasing, just because of COVID and because of the materials. Is that still the case, or is that, coming down to where new builds are now
super cheap,
less expensive?
Yeah, new builds are fantastic. I actually have a meeting with a couple construction builders next week, because they're on the hunt to sell these properties, right? They're just like panicking. They're giving away all sorts of stuff to the agents and or to, you know, buyers that are willing to come in and make a deal, you know, which is sad. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, guys, just sit for a second, stop panicking. Because really, part of the class that I was in yesterday really looked at the broad view, and Utah is still one of the only states in the nation that we have way more, like we have a housing shortage still. So what's going on, right? We do, and we have so many people having to move here. The stats are just insane. If he showed the slide deck again, I mean, it shows how many people are having to move here. Our average age in Utah is 26 years old. That's the largest age bracket in all of Utah is 26 years old, which is actually a very young number, but all those people need houses or apartments, right? All of them do. And what they're having to do is fold and just move in with mom and dad, right? Or grandma and grandpa, or like that's what's happening. And it's terrible, honestly. Like it's a bad situation. And for a while, that's what was selling was homes that had like maybe a kitchenette or a way to, you know, have more than a family live in a house. But that is the issue, is that everything needs to really open up and just kind of get back to normal. Stats are showing though that because we do have such a supply and demand problem, we still do. We don't have enough apartments, even though I know that they're building like crazy and we're still not catching up on rents right now. In a few months, maybe it takes a year, I don't know, but if people would just hold for a second and stop panicking, right? And unfortunately,
actually, I think you want real estate agents and them to panic because it corrects the market as well, and you don't have as much competition when all of this plays out. Is there going to be fewer people in the business?
That's true.
And so you will have less competition when it comes to
I like to have an abundance mindset though. There's always enough, right? I mean, we just hit 9 billion people in the world.
But I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you, abundance mindset, but I think there's a factual side to what Charlotte's saying, and that is, you know, shifting markets create burn-off. You know, we shifting markets, it decimated the wholesaler industry. There's like 10% of the wholesalers that we saw a year ago, right? Like,
less than that.
I've definitely gotten, you know, about 1/10 of the emails, and most of those companies have gone out of business. Decimated the flip market. You always see a bunch of agents that had entered during the good time, right? Turn around and exit. Being an agent,
it's back to that one tool that you talked about, Mitch.
That's right.
One tool agents. You know, that's only know how to do one thing, then they get burned out and they're not making any money because the market shifted.
Yep, exactly. And that's exactly the problem, David. You nailed it. And you know, people have the wrong mindset coming into this. And that is why Maeli and I focus so heavily on mindset. In fact, when I wanted to write a book about how to get into real estate investing, it ended up turning into a book about mindset, right? The subtitle is where I talk about real estate. The title is about Mindset's a Millionaire. And so that's where it starts. We have to have the right way of thinking, the right way to frame things. And that Toolbelt analogy is just another way to frame. If we're going to be full-time real estate investors, or if we're going to be successful part-time real estate investors, we have to be able to change with the market, because if we only learn one thing, we may only have 3 or 4 market cycles that apply to our one thing that we learned in our lifetimes. We can't play the rest of the game, right? So get educated, I guess, is the point of that.
Come hang out with us. That's the answer.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Keep
Come
coming
play.
and hanging out.
Come hang out. That's the answer is.
Did that answer your question, Charlotte?
Yeah, I was just wanting to, because here in Albuquerque there is a housing shortage, and our population, as far as what they can afford, it's being priced out of their ability to pay. So they're starting to talk about, or they may have even voted on it, I don't know, but allowing R1 or single family residential homes to build rental units of a certain size in R1 zoning, so that they could increase the number of housing units available within our city limits. So they're trying to be creative. And
Tiny houses.
What's
I
that?
love it.
I said it's tiny house time in Albuquerque. Everyone's gonna have a tiny house in their backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and it could, could make it, but I have always looked at lots and thought, it would be a great place for a duplex or a fourplex or, but for quite a while it's been more expensive to build than it is to go try to find something to buy. And so I was just curious if you'd seen that those numbers had changed.
Yeah, I have. I haven't seen as far as building a house, like already built, or like you're going to, like you're signing off on a lot. Yeah, I think they are cutting some pretty good deals, but the cost of labor is still super high. The cost of goods is still super high. None of that has come down. So unfortunately, as much as I would like to say that the cost of like building, I don't think around here at least it hasn't changed. But what they're willing to sell it for, if it's already been built and they're holding on to it, that's what's changed.
Yeah, our general contractor that's built, hundreds of apartments, they're saying the only thing that's come down is labor. All the other material costs are still way up there high. They haven't come down. It's making it hard to be able to build apartments. Financing has become very difficult. I mean, we had a 160 unit ready to go to build, and the bank lowered the loan ratio from 72 to 55%. You got to come up them. It's like coming up with another $10 million. So we just put the deals on the back burner right now until things get reasonable, because it's just so expensive.
So expensive because you already paid all the architects. You already paid for all the zoning changes. You already paid for, the stack.
We're into it $500,000. And we're shelving the project.
That makes me more frustrated than David. I'm just
me too.
Yeah, it makes me so sick because that could have helped so many people, right? Or come up with a plan B, kind of what Charlotte was saying. Allow, create a unique scenario with this one building that's ready to freaking go, and everyone's on board. Create a unique scenario with this one case to be able to house all these people and make affordable housing. I mean, there's so many ways that we could legit single-handedly change what's going on, but unfortunately,
Well, maybe that will be a project for your equity fund.
Hey, Charlotte, yeah.
Which is why y'all want to come back next week to learn more about equity funds. I know that was the promise of today, but we will
close.
Away.
We will close on what I also promised. That's okay. Compound effect.
That's okay. Yeah, we want you guys to steer the ship here. So there are some weeks like this week where we have a totally other thing planned, and we get into it, and then it kind of takes out one of these. But this is for you guys. Yeah. Like we love being here. We love the interactions. We love the connections. We love being able to see you guys each and every week. But what we love the most is being able to serve, being able to actually provide value to you. It means the world to me, Maeli. That's part of our worth, is being able to provide value to those we love. And so if you guys want to, whatever you want to talk about, that's what this call is for. So it's about you. Now, we are about to wrap up here, but before we do, just a few announcements. Make sure that, so I think this was successful. You guys will probably see the nuts and bolts tighten a little bit on the YouTube streaming thing. But this was our first successful live stream to YouTube. I'm excited to go back and watch myself be a goof on film. Make sure that you guys subscribe, because you want to get those notifications. There's multiple ways that you guys can get involved. We're going to have Issa create a way that when you go to Mitch and Maeli Live, you can actually sign up for the text reminders. So you can be part of the text reminder, or you get a text message that reminds you about the call each week. But also you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, because it will remind you. As long as you click that little notification bell, it will remind you when we're going live. You guys are welcome to just watch it on YouTube. That's going to be more of kind of a passive watching experience. Or everybody's always welcome, as long as you're respectful, to jump on, which all of you guys have been. Thank you so much. As
and
long
beautiful
as
smiles.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
right.
it.
I love it when the cameras are on. I love seeing your faces. So you're welcome to jump on the Zoom call as well. You can do that by simply going to mitchandmaelylive.com when it's time for the call to start, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Wednesdays. just to review some of our announcements that we talked about at the beginning, we have live meetings, in-person meetings. They're not on Zoom yet, but we're working on getting them on Zoom. And when we do that, we're going to get them on YouTube Live as well. We're also working on integrating Facebook Live. So if you prefer to watch it on Facebook instead of YouTube, that's something that we're going to be doing. But our live belly-to-belly meetings are 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. Those are both real estate training classes, different topics each time. And those are in Sandy, Utah, if you are in the Utah area or happen to be here on vacation during a Tuesday. We also have Thursday at 7 p.m. meetings. That's more of networking and community building as far as our local community of real estate investors. Those do happen around the country. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me. Let me know. I can find those times for you, and we can get those to you. We do have an event coming up with Mark Kohler in Idaho Falls. It's actually there are some requirements to be able to go to that. It's an elite event. Mark Kohler is just an absolute expert when it comes to tax and legal, and he's someone who makes the boring topics of taxes and legal actually entertaining. Like I'm always entertained. It's a laugh a minute with Mark Kohler. So if you want to be a part of that, there are some requirements you'll have to hit, a little bit of work you'll have to do to get there. But that work that I'm going to have you do is only going to make you money. So that's a good thing. So if you want to come to that, it's in Idaho Falls on February 27th.
February 27th.
February 27th. I will have a specific time and day when that comes, but it is February 27th. But we'll announce it again next week, so make sure you're here. And then next week we are going to be having our fund managers, or excuse me, our investor relationship managers for the private equity fund. They'll be on talking to us about how to fund deals with private equity, and more excitingly, and something that you can access probably earlier on in your investing career, how to fund deals with lines of credit. Something that you guys might want to do between now and then, and I'll just share my screen real quick so you can see what the heck I'm talking about.
You'll need to do it for a text message I sent you too. So.
What's the text message?
Just
Here it is.
the video thing, sure.
Okay, there it is. Found it. Can everybody see my screen, my YouTube channel? Our YouTube channel? Okay. So you're going to want to go to this playlist tab, and you're going to want to watch this. There's two long form content videos and a short. I have seen this channel, or excuse me, in this playlist. It's the velocity banking and speed banking debt payoff strategy. So there's an 8-minute video, a 25-minute video, and a 53-second video. Check that out, because that's going to kind of prep you for some of the strategies that you can use in funding your real estate deals with a line of credit, and they are amazing. Are they not, Mr. Coker-Hans? What do you think of that velocity banking strategy?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
And you got us started in getting helping us get our line of credit set up to start investing. You're the one. You did it, and we invested and it helped fund a number of fix and flips and made some good money on it.
Good boy.
So thanks to you.
Well, you did the work. We just inspired you. So we make a good team, but well done.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you guys. Both you
Give
and
Dave
Dave
an
Jr.
Look at
who's
this.
actually here. I
Introduced us to our first, one of your students and their sister, and we invested and done a number of deals, and it's been great.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. That's awesome. And I'm so proud of you guys.
Yes.
Well done.
Yes.
So again, the way to access that testimonial by Mr. Dave Coker-Hans here on the velocity banking strategy, you guys are going to want to watch that. That's right here so if you go to the YouTube channel, you click on the playlist tab, and it's right here, the velocity banking, speed banking, and debt payoff strategy. Okay, you're going to want to watch those 3 videos, a total of about a half hour of content, 35 minutes of content. So don't miss out on that. There's your homework for next week. We will see you guys next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific. It's 8 p.m. Central, and it's 9 p.m. Eastern.
Are you not going to show them the video?
What video?
The 2 things I promised them that we're going to do today, we didn't do.
Pause. We're going to watch a video.
It's only 3 minutes.
What video are we watching?
I sent you a text message. It's the compound effect. You really should read this book. So actually, I'm curious if we create kind of like a book club and we send out a book, whether it's audio or whatever, would you guys want to...
Hey guys, it's Theodore, and before I start this video, I want to let you know that there's an actionable worksheet PDF in the description below that can help you apply the concepts that you learn in this video. There's actually a PDF for every video and...
Sorry. What are you doing? Yeah. So, would you, would that excite you guys? Would that be something that you'd want to like talk about maybe for just 5 minutes? If we all talked about, we all read a book together, and then like the things that really stood out to us, the things that we're going to implement within our business, would that be something that y'all would want to do for 2023?
Well, reading is the exercise of the brain, so I would say yes to that one.
Yes. Okay. So watch this. Just to sign off, watch this video. It seriously is super powerful, and you should go read this book, and then by the end of this, the last call this month, we'll do a book review about the compound effect. Okay, this is just a little short overview. So
and guys, we're gonna bid you adieu now. Feel free to stay on through the video, watch the video, but we will be back next week. Same link, same place. You can catch us on the YouTube channel at Flipping with Mitch and Maeli, or you can catch us on Mitch and Maeli Live if you want to jump into the Zoom call. We will see you guys on the flip side. Enjoy this video as we sign off.
Hey guys, it's Theodore, and before I start this video, I want to let you know that there's an actionable worksheet PDF in the description below that can help you apply the concepts that you learn in this video. There's actually a PDF for every video in Practical Growth Academy. Anyways, there's also a link to get my top 10 favorite books, because a lot of people have been emailing me lately about them. So go ahead and check them out. Now, The Compound Effect is a great book when getting started into self-development, because it lays the foundation for understanding how your small choices can end up making very large impacts on your life. So the first big idea I want to talk about is something he calls the magic penny. In the book, Darren Hardy explains the idea of compound interest using the magic penny idea. The basic idea is that when looking at these two options, which one looks more attractive? $3 million right now, or a penny that doubles in value every day for 31 days? You might have heard this before, and if you haven't, you probably would have picked the $3 million just because you don't know the power of compounding interest. After 31 days, the penny choice is now worth $5.3 million, almost double the first option. We can compare this growth to ourselves. For example, let's say you eat a small chocolate bar every morning for around 3 years. If the chocolate bar is around 125 calories and you do nothing extra to your diet or your exercise program, you would gain an extra 39 pounds in those 3 years, because 125 calories times 365 days times 3 years, and then you take that and you divide it by 3,500 calories per pound, you get 39 pounds. Now, it's really crazy to think about it, but this principle is at play in every minute of our lives. Imagine if you read a small 10 pages a day for 3 years. What would that be? That's around 43 books in 3 years by only reading 10 pages a day, and that is life-changing. In fact, some experts say that the minimum amount of books to read to become more knowledgeable on a topic more than 90% of the general public is just 4 books. After reading 43 books, you'll be ranking with the experts in less than 3 years. Now, the problem, though, is that because it's easy to do, it means it's also easy not to do, right? So the next big idea I want to talk about is about owning 100%. Now, this is kind of a paradox. Since these small daily choices are easy to do, they're...
Did you guys not hear any of that?
It stopped after 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So something you did the last...
So easy to skip. Hey, I'll read 10 pages tonight. I'll work out tomorrow morning and burn off this donut. I'll get that project done next week. We say stuff like this all the time. Our brain overestimates how long small tasks right now, or a penny that doubles in value every day for 31 days. You might have heard this before, and if you haven't, you probably would have picked the $3 million just because you don't know the power of compounding interest. After 31 days, the penny choice is now worth $5.3 million, almost double the first option. We can compare this growth to ourselves. For example, let's say you eat a small chocolate bar every morning for around 3 years. If the chocolate bar is around 125 calories and you do nothing extra to your diet or your exercise program, you would gain an extra 39 pounds in those 3 years, because 125 calories times 365 days times 3 years, and then you take that and you divide it by 3,500 calories per pound, you get 39 pounds. Now, it's really crazy to think about it, but this principle is at play in every minute of our lives. Imagine if you read a small 10 pages a day for 3 years. What would that be? That's around 43 books in 3 years by only reading 10 pages a day, and that is life-changing. In fact, some experts say that the minimum amount of books to read to become more knowledgeable knowledgeable on a topic more than 90% of the general public is just 4 books. After reading 43 books, you'll be ranking with the experts in less than 3 years. Now the problem though is that because it's easy to do, it means it's also easy not to do, right? So the next big idea I want to talk about is about owning 100%. Now this is kind of a paradox. Since these small daily choices are easy to do, they're also easy to skip. Hey, I'll read 10 pages tonight. I'll work out tomorrow morning and burn off this donut. I'll get that project done next week. We say stuff like this all the time. Our brain overestimates how long small tasks will take, and because of this, we will procrastinate and put it off. Darren, the author, says we're all self-made men and women, but only the successful people take credit for it. If you're dead broke with no friends, it takes a lot of character to say, I'm here because of my choices and the decisions that I've made up to this point. Well, when you have the humility to actually admit that and say, since I've got here, I can get myself out of this hole, then you can start to get back on the right track that you were aiming for. Once you own 100% of your responsibility and your situation, you can start to understand that you have more control of your life than you actually think, and your decisions will matter more to you. So big idea number 2 is to own 100%. Big idea number 3 is small choices. Once you have accepted that your life is 100% your responsibility, you can start to commit to small, easy choices. Now I'm talking about stuff like, I'm gonna save $120 every month until the end of the year. I'm gonna have dinner with my father once a month. I'm gonna go to the gym twice a week for a month. These small choices really help. $120 every month for 20 years with an average interest rate compounds to over $50,000. And also, imagine how many more memories you'll have with your family members and the loved ones if you commit to seeing them at least once a month. For a lot of people, it's just around the holidays. And also imagine how much longer you will statistically be able to live if you go to the gym twice a week opposed to never. The next big idea I want to talk about is about the law of attraction and how it really works. Now in the self-development niche, I get asked all the time about my own personal opinion of the law of attraction. And most people understand it. It's kind of like, if I sit here and think about it all the time, then I'll get it. Like if I sit on the couch and think about $1 million, then I'll get $1 million. I'll win the lottery or something. Well, that's not true. It's not how it works. So your brain is a highly sophisticated organ that consumes billions of sensory data groups every day. And to prevent it from going insane and to make your life easier to live, it forgets a very large amount of all of that information. However, your brain will pick up on relevant things. So if you've been thinking about getting a new job, it'll pick out information that it thinks is relevant to getting a new job. For example, you might see an advertisement for a job recruitment that you would have otherwise ignored, but your brain picked it out and made you look at it. Have you ever learned a new word and you hear it 4 or 5 times the next week, even though you've never heard that word before? This is the reason why. If you want to put the law of attraction to work, or rather your brain to work for you, fill it with things that you want more of in your life. Make sure that if you're trying to lose weight, you write down your goals. You start listening to people who talk about how to lose weight, and you read books around the same topic. And because of this new information, your brain will remind you next time you're about to habitually eat some candy. So the law of attraction is just a little trick to help your brain make living your life and getting to your goals easier. It's not some magic thing that you can sit in your house and wish up something. You have to go and put in the work, but the law of attraction makes the work more important. The last idea is garbage in, garbage out. Another huge idea I found in this book, which actually takes up a couple of pages, is something called garbage in, garbage out. And it basically means if you're consuming negative information, you're eating low quality food, and you're hanging around toxic people, your life quality is going to suffer. It just makes sense. Instead, pick carefully what kind of information that you consume daily. Cut back time with those toxic friends and educate yourself about your diets, your macronutrients, and food quality. Remember that the compound effect will magnify what you consume over time. So 30 minutes of dramatic news each night will drastically change your thoughts, but so will 30 minutes of reading a new book. So the big idea here is to choose carefully. Also, again, you can check the description links below for a free actionable summary and also a list of my top 10 books. You just go to that page, enter your email, and I'll send them right to your email. Before I end this video, I want to let you know that this video right here is a shorter version of the entire full summary within Practical Growth Academy. Now you might be wondering, what is Practical Growth Academy? Practical Growth Academy is a private mastermind group where I add animated book summaries and actionable worksheets every week so that you can better remember and apply the principles that you learn in these books. Plus, I also add monthly mini courses, journal outlines, and you get access to a premium Discord server. And if you join up today, I will send you a $20 Amazon gift card. And that's really cool because it only costs $17.
All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic night.